2024 has come and gone, and everyone seems to be looking back at all of their accomplishments through the year, leaving the bad behind, and moving into another year that reminds me that I left college about 10 years ago. Ugh. My experiences have not been much different from others, as I got a chance to travel a little bit more than I used to, looking deep in myself to find who the world champion truly is. I also watched a bunch of movies, television, anime, and played a few video games through the year. Looking through what I exposed myself to, it doesn't feel like I consumed that much media, which is a good thing, I suppose. But let's talk about all the best of the best, the top tier taste of media, the cream of the crop. Here are my picks for the best of 2024. Best movie, Sonic 3. Call it recency bias, call me blind to criticisms, I just do not care, because Sonic 3 was one of my favorite movies this past year. Was it because I saw it with friends of mine? Perhaps. Was it due to all the little Easter eggs thrown all around the movie? Maybe? Was it because Jim Carrey decided to bust my gut with laughter throughout? More than likely, yes. This movie was just fun. From stunning visuals to a simple story of revenge and being true to oneself, Sonic takes you on a marathon of fast-paced action in a 90-minute sprint. Jim Carrey does an awesome job playing both Eggman and his grandfather Gerald as they rekindle their family bonds in order to take over the world. Shadow takes center stage, played by Keanu Reeves, and he does a wonderful job capturing the Edgelord Hedgehog.
Revenge Squawk.
And we get to see a child get unalived. Hope you're happy, Internet! The supporting cast does their part in keeping the movie grounded and our heroes in line, for the most part. The humans do take a step back, which is the biggest upgrade this movie franchise continues to make. The action? Well, this is exactly what a live-action DBZ movie could be. Overall, this was my favorite movie experience this year, and I can't wait to watch it again. Best Video Game, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I bet you thought this was gonna be something else for this section, huh? Don't worry, stay tuned, because we will slap that simian momentarily. Because now we gotta talk about Tsundere Boy and Mommy Issues Hero. That's right, the best video game winner for this video is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This year, I played a lot, and I do mean a lot, of Final Fantasy VII. Mainly the remake stuff. I finally went through the remake, went through the Intergrade story, and then blitzed through Crisis Core, all to get ready for Rebirth to drop. And let me tell you, those hours were worth it. You play as Cloud and his friends as they try to find out what Sephiroth is planning after the destruction of Midgar. You travel through vicious swamps, scorching deserts, dense jungles, and beaches with beautiful waters as far as the eye can see. I spent a few months in this world, and let me tell you, it was a blast. The story sucked me in, wanting to know how this world was dealing with their ecosystem dying. The world building was unlike anything else I had experienced in gaming, as you have to infiltrate certain areas and fight your way through hordes of monsters. Even minigames were aplenty, and a nice treat away from the action. The musical score was breathtaking as usual, and sticks in your head for days to come. I can't tell you how many times at work I would have to do a random task, and all of a sudden, the battle music would kick on in my head. Take that, you nasty bug! The side missions too didn't feel like they were a chore to complete. They were pretty simple to complete, with maybe one or two areas needing a return to finish them all. I felt myself invested heavily in each character's story, with Barrett's arc of redemption, Red 13's coming of age, Tifa's struggles with wanting to be of use to her friends, and Aerith's call to action. When I got to the final chapter, I realized that I didn't want the game to end. That meant saying farewell to these characters for a bit. That's something that truly means a lot in gameplay to me. Also, as a side note, and go ahead and argue with a brick wall, cause Tifa is best girl. Do not fight me on this, and we all know why I think she is best girl. Because boobs. Best anime, Mushoku Tensei. I don't want to speak too much on Mushoku Tensei here, as I've begun covering the light novel series on the channel, but the fact an anime has made me pick up a light novel in itself is a shocker. Mushoku Tensei follows a boy named Rudeus Greyrat, who was reincarnated into this world after dying in a truck accident. The hook? He was a jobless 34-year-old man in his previous life. I feel somewhat called out. Well, at least I have a job, so take that, Rudy. But that's the kicker. This show is very relatable. From how Rudy tries to be better, to his interactions, and even the lessons he learns throughout. But most importantly, it's the idea of learning to live your best life. In the beginning, Rudy treats this new life as an RPG, not really giving much thought of people's feelings and the consequences of his own actions. As you go through his journey, he begins to learn the value of life and the opportunity he has to write a new one. I could go on longer, but again, I have a series I'm currently doing on the channel, so go check that out and let's talk more about Mushoku Tensei. Best manga, Ranger Reject. Do you like Power Rangers? Do you like The Boys? Good, because this is better than both of those shows. Ranger Reject or Go-Go Loser Ranger, yeah, it's one of those MHA Boku no Hero things, follows the story of Fighter D, a lowly monster peon who is tired of the weekly format and wants to rule the world. In his endeavors, a plot of deception unfolds as we discover the Rangers aren't what the public views them as. Corruption, violence, manipulation, and many other controversial topics are hit on in this series. What really keeps me going in this series is D. D starts off as this monster goon who is so weak that a light breeze can defeat him. He constantly gets thrown into situations that he has no reason being in the middle of, and he isn't powerful enough in the slightest to overcome those obstacles. But through cunning and sheer willpower, he's able to come out the other side, relatively unscathed. D's story is all about finding one's purpose in life, and realizing that there is more to dreams than just the bare minimum of the statements. I may end up talking more about Ranger Reject on the channel, so I want to leave this section a little light as well. But if you want a story where teamwork is key, and it's not just about punching the final boss, check this series out. I was able to binge the manga, and the first season of the anime dropped earlier this year, with season 2 coming later in 2025, I believe. Check it out and see what Fighter D can do for you. Best Wrestling Show, WrestleMania 40. Hey, here's a new segment for this video. Yeah, I'm a big wrestling person, if you didn't know that already. This year was a massive one, and WWE itself knocked it out of the park with their biggest show of the year, WrestleMania 40. Storylines made their big conclusions, from Sami Zayn dethroning the 666-day reign of Gunther and the IC title, to Becky and Rhea putting on a banger of an opening match for the Women's World title, capped off with a big tag team match between The Rock and Roman Reigns taking on Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. And that was just night 1. Night 2 gave us Seth dropping the title to Drew, who immediately got cashed in on by Damian Priest, Bayley and Io giving us a home run match for the ages, Logan Paul, even though he won his match, he still got his ass kicked by Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, and of course, Cody Rhodes finally finishing his story. WrestleMania 40 gave me many feel-good moments. I also got to share both nights of WrestleMania with close friends, both in person and online. The build too for WrestleMania this past year was also something to note. Everything surrounding WrestleMania 40 set a new precedent for the company and the wrestling world as a whole, where the bar was raised to an extraordinary height. And even throughout this year, the show started storylines that we will speak on for years to come, and consequences for actions that have gone unchecked for years. There's a high bar set for WrestleMania now moving forward, so I hope 41 this year can match those expectations. Best Animation, Invincible Fight Girl. Surprise, surprise, I'm talking about Invincible Fight Girl on the channel again. I won't ramble too much here, as I did do a video on the show on the channel, which I highly recommend checking out. The only thing I really want to add when it comes to this show is the influence that this show gave to my friend group. Through watch parties, I was able to open up more and more about my passions for pro wrestling, and in turn, I think I was able to open some eyes to the overall product of professional wrestling due to what Invincible Fight Girl was able to show. If anything, this show highlights a lot of what I love when it comes to storytelling within both mediums. With stellar animation, solid character writing, and sensational voice acting, Invincible Fight Girl proves that when passion drives a show, magic can happen. Best overall, Black Myth Wukong. Alright people, now we can slap that simian. That's right, Black Myth Wukong gets my stamp for the best overall piece of media I experienced in 2024. This fucking game, did something to me. Normally, I don't play games that are insanely hard. I've tried Souls-like games plenty of times, and yet I never really got too far in them. At this stage of life, I'd much rather enjoy a game calmly and take my time having fun instead of raging or spending hours to, as the kids say, get good. There was something different with Wukong though. Now, obviously, I had to check out the game due to what it was about, and mainly who it was about. I've always heard of Wukong and knew of the influence of the character in media, but never really dove into who Wukong really was. Going through this game, you become the Monkey King. You fight through some of his old foes, demons who knew of Wukong, those looking to keep him away from the world, even meeting some of his old allies in the process. This game does not hold back though, as the bosses are insane. At least the little guys aren't terrible. When you have to face off against a tiger in a pool of blood, a lightning dragon, or the bane of all existence, the damn Scorpion Lord. No, quick little tangent here as I'm recording this. The Scorpion Lord, I have never stood up while playing a video game. And yet, when I finally beat the damn Scorpion Lord, this motherfucker not only made me stand up as I was beating him, but when I beat him, I fell to my knees. Yeah, you learn to get good quick. But it wasn't just getting good, it was patience. I had to learn to actually study my opponent, what moves worked best, what armor suited the situation, things I don't often put too much thought in other than being a Leroy Jenkins in gaming. I was able to beat just about every boss. Erlang, you will be defeated by the time of posting this video. Not only that, this game made me check out the stories of Wukong. I've been listening to an audiobook series of the stories of Wukong, of Journey to the West, and I'm seeing more and more just how Wukong has been an influence in media just in general. And it's kind of altered just how I view a lot of things. Now I'm starting to see things in realms of, okay, these people are considered mortals now in my vision of media. There's now this almost demigod center circle of characters and all that, and then there's the god center circles and all that. This game altered my brain to the point where now I'm obsessed. Everything is Wukong now. You know, I can now look at Ratchet and Clank and be like, Ratchet, you are Wukong. I can now look at freaking Monkey D. Luffy from One Piece and definitely be like, yeah, you're freaking Wukong. I can look at freaking Sonic the Hedgehog and be like, you're Wukong. Everything is Wukong now. Even Spider-Man, even Superman. Wukong is literally everywhere. And here's the kicker. It makes sense because he can pluck hairs out of his body and make duplicates. He can make clones of himself. And every little aspect of his character you can see in just about any other main character in media. And in an odd way, I kind of went on this spiritual journey. No matter how difficult the challenge, I have all the tools I need to succeed and become even greater. I can grow into a being far exceeding even my own expectations. You just need to pick up the stick and run with it. I uploaded a video of me finally defeating the final boss, and when I tell you, I felt so good watching that final cutscene. I felt just this sigh of relief that I finally accomplished something great. It's just a game, I know, but like, again, the spiritual journey I went on was something truly remarkable. Reflecting on this past year, it really was a year of growth. Outside of the games, I grew a bit myself. I met some new people, restarted this channel, started a wrestling podcast, and broke through a few walls that I had set up after 2022 ended. Have I reached the levels I wanted to at the beginning of 2024? Well, no. But that's just the thing. Why focus on that destination when the journey is what we live through? Each day we struggle with life, having to get up from bed, go to work or school, tolerate the people around us, and eventually get home, sleep, and do it all again. Why limit ourselves in this way? Why succumb to the gears of life, the system of consumerism, and lose ourselves through algorithms in life? That isn't living. And I choose to grow and live more of life in 2025. So thank you for getting to the end of this video. I know I can tend to ramble a bit at times, but I appreciate everyone for checking out my content when you do. I'm still improving myself as we move on in life, and I only ask for your continued support in this journey. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and look out for all the awesome content heading your way in 2025. I've been your world champion, and I'll catch you guys and gals in the next one. I don't